The core friction of traditional gardening is the waiting. You spend 70 days watering a single cabbage, you pull it up for dinner, and you are immediately left staring at a patch of empty dirt. The alternative is selecting cut-and-come-again plants. Because of their unique physical shape, you don't pull the plant out of the ground at all. You just take what you need, and the plant keeps producing. Cut-and-come-again crops use fountain growth. You harvest mature outside leaves, leaving the central crown intact to generate new foliage. This compounding return stacks up over a 6-month season, yielding vastly more food from the exact same square foot of soil. But the biology varies wildly. Some die after your second cut, while others yield all year. To find the absolute highest return on investment for your space, we have to look at the genetics. Gardening blogs love to promise endless harvests, but they usually fail to mention the biological limits of the plants they are recommending. A plant's ability to regrow is bound by a strict biological trade-off. You can have rapid, tender growth, or you can have long-term resilience. You rarely get both at once. This chart outlines succession planting. The interval column requires constantly sowing new seeds to replace dying crops. This logistical overhead means running a complex spreadsheet just to keep a salad on the table. True endless harvesting means escaping that treadmill entirely. You do that by choosing plants that are genetically designed for endurance. The first tier of continuous crops are the sprinters. This group includes tender leafy greens like lettuce, arugula, and spinach. Sprinters require very little infrastructure. They thrive in the cool weather of early spring and have shallow root systems, making them perfectly suited for a 6-inch patio container. They offer an incredibly fast 30-day turnaround to your first cut. The major trade-off is that their biology is highly intolerant to heat. When summer arrives, the plant initiates bolting. It panics, shoots up a rigid seed stalk to reproduce, and turns its remaining leaves entirely bitter. While sprinters provide great instant gratification, that hard biological limit of 2 or 3 cuts means they are a short-term rental, not a long-term food solution. Our second tier consists of the base regrowers. These are kitchen staples you might already have on your counter, like scallions, celery, and leeks. The harvesting method here requires you to cut the stalk completely off above the soil line, while leaving the entire root structure undisturbed in the ground. The immediate psychological benefit is huge. You get a seemingly zero-cost, effortless secondary harvest right out of the existing roots. This diagram shows the hidden cost. To push up that new stalk, the plant expends finite stored energy from its root system. With each subsequent cut, it's depleted further. New stalks grow sequentially thinner and weaker until the root exhausts itself entirely. Base regrowers are an excellent trick for a quick second flush of food, but their diminishing biological returns disqualify them from being truly endless. That brings us to our final tier, the marathoners. These are your robust, heavy-hitting crops like Swiss chard and kale. To grow crops this large, you need premium real estate. They require well-draining raised beds with 8 to 12 inches of soil depth to support their extensive root structures. The harvest technique demands strict discipline. You have to pluck leaves from the outside in, or the bottom up, to preserve the central growing point. In exchange, marathoners offer remarkable resilience. They will survive brutal direct summer heat waves that would instantly scorch a bed of lettuce. They also possess a unique cold weather anomaly. When autumn frost hits the leaves, the plant converts its starches into sugar, meaning these crops actually taste sweeter late in the year. You accept a larger spatial footprint and a tougher texture, and in return, you get an unmatched, continuous caloric yield spanning 6 months or more. Mapping these tiers to your physical constraints is key. This matrix plots harvest duration against space required. Balcony gardeners with small pots belong in the bottom left with lettuce. Raised bed optimizers wanting maximum yield land in the bottom right, Swiss chard. The culinary trade-off for Swiss chard is you must harvest the stalks while they are small, otherwise the texture becomes earthy and difficult to chew. Aligning your spatial limitations with the correct plant biology prevents the frustration of failed harvests and optimizes your return on investment. But if we are crowning a definitive champion for the truest endless harvest and the highest overall ROI, the title belongs to kale. With a single spring planting, you can utilize continuous bottom-up leaf plucking to harvest from the exact same plant for months on end. It outcompetes almost any other plant per square foot because it survives extreme summer heat and continues to yield fresh food right through winter snows. The only trade-off you have to accept is kale's robust, earthy culinary texture over the delicate bite of a spring salad. The universal rule of endless harvesting applies to all of these plants. Protect the central meristem, harvest strictly from the outside, and you can stop treating your garden like a waiting game.